Nice to see you all again. Today I'll be covering Aladdin for the Super Nintendo. As those of you know, during the 16-bit era, various game titles have been released for both the Sega Genesis, aka Mega Drive, and the Super Nintendo. On the SNES, usually those games do better. However, Aladdin for the SNES is not one of them. It's still a good Disney game, but the Genesis version has done better. For several reasons, the Genesis version had better animation, more boss fights, and Aladdin carries a damn sword from the beginning to the end, and not just fucking apples. Nonetheless, this review is on the Super Nintendo version, so let's get to that right away. Now I will say this, the SNES does go more in depth with the story than the Genesis, so when the game opens up, you'll get a dialogue with 16-bit animation representing what happens in the movie. When you start the game, you realize you only have two attacks, throwing apples and jumping on enemies. The controls are pretty good. Besides throwing apples and jumping on enemies, you can dash or even hover, but only if you grab the sheep, so Aladdin can use it as a parachute in order to get to hard to reach gems or cross over areas that seem difficult. The music is alright with nice renditions from the movie. Graphics are decent. There are many items to collect. You get apples, gems, Zelda type hearts that increase your max life, 1-ups if you're lucky to find, and 2 types of foods that will fill up your health. There's also a golden scarab to collect in each stage, and if you manage to get it, you'll get a bonus roulette, which I swear takes too fucking long for the genie to stop. Stop. Please stop. Son of a bitch. I wish you would stop this damn roulette right now before I turn this freaking game off and land me on the 2-up position. Oh, thank you. At least all that long waiting has paid off somehow. Now once you get 100 gems, you'll get an extra heart to add to your max health. The red gems count as 3 gems, and I'll explain more about them later on. Now on to the enemies, and there's sure a hell of a lot of them. We have guards trying to grab you, guards who throw barrels, guards who shoot arrows, and guards who throw hovering swords at you. And oh yeah, pots, and pots, which sadly you get nothing from as you'll be seeing a lot of them. Some stages allow you to perform certain skills, like jumping on top of people and snakes in the backgrounds to get to higher ground. You can swing from ledges, and if enemies touch you while you're in that state, they automatically get knocked out, which is kinda cool. The obstacles I hate the most is the ones you gotta jump on. By some chance, if your health goes to 0, some stages have you start from the beginning, while others are midway, like a checkpoint. Regardless of whether you play the Genesis or SNES versions of this game, the hardest stages have always been in the Cave of Wonders, in particular where you escape from the cave. The magic carpet part is actually more fun in the SNES version, but also harder. There's even a bonus stage in this game which happens right after the 5th stage, which obviously did not exist in the movie. All you do here is ride with Jasmine on the magic carpet collecting gems while listening to A Whole New World. I'm not joking, this is all you do. Complete waste of time if you ask me. During the last stage is the only time you'll see Yago appearing as an enemy, carrying skulls to harm you. There's only 3 bosses in this game, unless you count Abu being controlled by a Tut mask. The first boss is the Merchant, who if you recall almost cut Jasmine's hand off in the movie. Easy as hell, just get close to him and right when he's about to attack, move out of the way and then jump on his head. Then he'll go into a mode and start slashing away for a bit. Repeat a few more times and you'll beat him. The second boss is Jafar, and he's a real pain in the ass to hit, especially since apples do jack shit against him. I usually ignore the flying pots he sends at you and wait until he throws his staff on the floor. Just evade the lightning, jump on the wand, and hit Jafar on the head when he's coming down a few times. Then after you beat Jafar, you'll have to fight his snake form, which is easier as long as you stay to the far left of the screen. This is where hovering will save your life, especially if you want to dodge the fire below. Either jump on the black balls he spits to jump on his head, or wait for him to strike you and jump on his head then a number of times. Then you win the game. The ending you get depends on how many red gems you collected throughout the game. As you can see, I only managed to get 43, which would be the somewhat worse ending, but it's just basically an AI control version of the bonus stage. Really lame. So overall, what do I think of this game? It has its moments, but not as good as its Genesis counterpart. Pretty decent or mediocre at best. I give this game a 7 out of 10. This proves that even though the Super Nintendo dominated the 16-bit competition, that not all their game versions are better than the Genesis ones. So until next review, see you next time.